Hi, here's a little clip to have a look at using the X and Y intercept method to sketch a linear graph. We have an example here, 2x plus 3y equals 24. Firstly, if we want to find the X-intercept, what we need to do is make y equal to 0. So we have our little equation there, and we're going to go 2x plus 3 by 0 is equal to 24. 3 by 0 is just nothing, so we're left with 2x is equal to 24. We then want to divide both sides by the 2 to cancel down the 2's. Leaves us with x is equal to 12. Then what we need to do is the same thing for the y-intercept, and I'm just going to see if I can shrink that a little bit. So for the y-intercept, we're going to do exactly the same thing. Y-intercept and x will be equal to 0 in this case here. So same thing, set out the equation, 2x plus 3y is equal to 24. But x is equal to 0, so we've got 2 by 0 plus 3y is equal to 24. And 2 times 0 is 0, so we're left with 3y is equal to 24. And we will divide, in this case, both sides by 3 to cancel the 3 down at the front, like so. And that will leave us with y is equal to 8. Now we can sketch the graph. Just draw our coordinates like so, y-axis and an x-axis. We're told that the y-intercept is going to be at 8. And we're told that the x-intercept is going to be at 12, and we draw a line between the two of them. Looks a little bit wonky, but it should be a straight line, and you try and make those lines hook up with the intercepts. The cheat's way of doing something like that would be to actually go through, sketch the graph, and then you can label your intercepts afterwards, 12 and 8. It's also a good idea if you actually list the intercepts as coordinates. So for this one here, the y-intercept would actually be 0 and 8, and the x-intercept would be 12 and 0. Always a good idea. Let's move on to the next example. Same sort of question here, sketch the graph of 3x take 2y equals 15, but we're told a domain as well. So we're going to start off by doing the same thing. We find the x-intercept, and we'll make y equal to 0 for that. So we've got 3x minus 2y, but y is 0, is equal to 15. So that bit there disappears, so we're left with 3x equals 15. Divide both sides by 3. Leaves us with x is equal to 5. Then we do the same thing with the y-intercept. X equals 0. So here we have 3x is equal to 0, so we'll put that in there. Take away 2y equals 15. 3 by 0 is just 0, so we've got negative 2y is equal to 15. Then we have to divide by the negative as well to leave a positive y, so we divide both sides by negative 2. The negatives will cancel down there. The 2's will cancel down. It leaves us with y is equal to negative 15 over 2, or that's negative 7.5. Okay. Now, because we're being given a domain, we've got distinct n values that we need to include with that. So, I'll make myself a bit of room here first. Shrink the whole lot. Back to our pen here. For the endpoints, There's going to be one when x is equal to -1, and that's dealing with that first part of the domain up there. So when x is equal to -1, we just substitute -1 into the equation. So we've got 3 by -1, take away 2y equals 15. 3 by -1 is -3, take away 2y equals 15. I'm going to add 3 to both sides to move that -3. So we're adding 3y, oh, not 3y, we're just adding 3. Get rid of that y there. Rubbing out too much stuff there. So we're adding 3 to cancel down that -3 there, and then we end up with 15 plus 3 on the right hand side. So we've got -2y will be equal to 15 plus 3 is 18. Then what we do is we divide by the -2 on both sides. Negatives cancel, the 2's cancel, the rain has started, the dogs are barking. Y will be equal to so 18 divided by -2 will be -9. Okay, so that's going to be 1 point there. Shrink that one a little bit more. Ooh, shrinking a whole lot. And then our other end point that we're going to have is for the second part there, which is x is equal to 3. So x equals 3. We again substitute into the equation, so we've got 3, x is equal to 3, so substitute that in, take away 2y equals 15. So 9 take away 2y equals 15. We are now going to take away 9 from both sides. That gets rid of that one. Leaves us with -2y equals 15. Take away 9 is 6. And then we need to divide both sides by -2. Negatives cancel, 2's cancel. Gives us y will be equal to -3. So we now have our two endpoints, and we have some coordinates that will correspond to those endpoints. So for this one, for the x equals -1, so when x is equal to -1, y is equal to -9, so we get coordinates of -1 and -9. And we also have the coordinates for when x is equal to 3, y is equal to -3. So now what we can do is sketch the graph. So draw up our axes like so. X and y labelled axes. We have a y-intercept of -7.5, which will be down here somewhere. And we have an x-intercept of +5, which will be over here somewhere. But we're also told that our domain, we can't go any further than -1, and we can't go any further than +3. So originally our graph would have looked something like, I'll just find a nice little light colour, something like this. But we have a restricted domain from -3 to 1, so I'm going to get my dark colour here. For the left-hand end, or the lower end of the domain, we had a square bracket, so it's inclusive of that value. So I'm going to fill in the circle there. For the right-hand end, it's a round bracket, so that's sort of the same as a less than equal to. I'm going to have an open circle there, and then I need to fill in the line. Next thing that we should do is label each of those points. So this point here will be at 3, -3. Our y-intercept is going to be at 0 for x and negative 7.5 for y. And this coordinate down the bottom here is going to be at negative 1, negative 9. And if you did this in a nice light pencil, you can then rub out the rest of the graph. The domain is restricted enough that we don't actually get an X-intercept in this question. Other questions you may enter with an X-intercept, so we don't need to actually label the X-intercept at this particular point in time, so we can ignore that as well. And that's how you do that question. Hope you find it useful. See ya.